Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Mayor and City Council Workshop, Wednesday, July 9th. If you'd please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands.
One small point of correction. It is actually Monday, July 14th, and this is the council meeting. I had the wrong agenda in front of me. Please show that all council members are present. Up next, we have the approval of the minutes for the June 4th, 2025, June 9th, 2025 regular meetings, and the June 18th, 2025 budget meeting. I'm looking for a motion in regards to that.
Move to approve the minutes.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Give it to McCarron, or Councilmember McCarron. Any additional comments, questions, concerns by council? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Carries. Up next, we have reception of delegation CQI Associates LLC, electric supply service contract for the city. If you don't mind coming on up here.
Thank you, members of the mayor and council. I'm sorry I was able not to be here last week. I had an emergency, but I'm glad to be here today. What we're going to be talking about is your electricity contract that's coming due in December. There is time for us to take the time that whatever the council and the mayor need to make an informed and appropriate decision at that point. The city has been for years a part of the Taneytown Chamber of Commerce Energy Purchasing Cooperative Program, but we've really always handled this as an independent bid with fully transparent pricing and costs. The purpose of the co-op program is try to band together the pricing for lots of different chamber members to get the lowest price possible for all members of them. And so even in VAPCO and Taney Corporation and many others are part of this overall co-op program. There are three components to your electricity supply electricity contract. There's supply services, there's delivery, and there's taxes and fees. The delivery fees are with the utility, PEPCO. It's a regulated rate. You have to stay with them. You have to pay their rates. So that's one piece of this. The other taxes, fees, and all those others are regulated by the Public Service Commission. Neither of those are part of this overall competitive contract. The piece that we're going to be talking about is the supply portion of it, the bulk of the electricity that is supplied to you. The current contract that you're in is a 20-month term, started in May of 24, ends in December of this year. That's why I'm saying is we're having a conversation now, 6 months out, so you can make an informed decision as you move forward. It was with Hudson Energy, and it was for something called an all-in fixed contract. Okay, it was at a rate of 7510, and if you actually look at your chart that's in front of you, if you look at the top of this chart in front of you at the top of the page, you'll see the math equation of the 71510 for the 3,192,000 kilowatt hours that you use on an annual basis, which means your supply portion of your contract is $239,777. You would add about another 100,000 for delivery services that go to PEPCO, Potomac Edison, and then about another 39,000 that are for taxes and fees to get your total budget. So everybody understands where your total might be when you're actually looking at the overall budget at this point. The other thing that you need to understand is if you decide in December you do not want to do something, you can elect to go back to Potomac Edison on their standard offer service rate. The standard offer service rate right now is a 0.1021 per kilowatt hour, and that's in effect until May of 31. Actually, this chart, the chart that you have, may have, what number do you have on your chart there? I'm sorry.
It says until 2026, May 2026. I'm reading this right?
Yes, yours is 1002. Does everybody have a 1002? 201 on your
Yep.
chart? Okay, all right, I was looking at the wrong chart for a second. So if you were to go back to the utility, you would be paying 310,000. Everybody see that number?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, just to be really clear for a moment, if you look on the chart is also on your page that says market trend chart. Let's look at this chart for a second. What we do in our office is we constantly are pricing electricity. We have bids going out every day. We pricing every day. But we also look at if you did where the market rate is month to month and how that affects to where we want to be and how we develop a weighted average. Does everybody understand what that is? The blue that's on the left-hand side is where the market has been. And if you did not sign your contract that you had, you would have been paying those rates on a month-to-month basis. And that really high peak that you see way over here, this was during the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, okay? So the market really jumped up. You were at a 7.1 all the time, way below down here at the bottom of that number. So we've done real well with that 20-month contract. The yellows are what we see as the lowest point in the market that's been the 9.0, 9.5, 9.9. Where right now, where you see the 10.692 and the green line that's moving forward, you can see the market has not normally trended. The trend in the market is to do this. It's a bell curve like this, like you can see a little further over. It's not trending that way. We are on since October, the market has shot up. It's gone up over 100%. We are in a kind of chaotic market period. So one of the other things that we've got to be careful about is not to do anything long-term where a year from now we wish we didn't do, okay? So the Potomac Edison number of 10.02.201 is a number that we want to keep in our mind, but we also want to keep in mind that the market rate should not exceed that 10.682 that you see there 24 months from now. Everybody follow me for a moment? So we kind of have a benchmark of what decision tree we need to be making as we look forward. The other thing that we're finding is an all-in fixed rate now. That's what you're in, the 7 cents here is all-in fixed. That means every price component is fixed in that rate, is really running extremely high right now, and you'll see that in a couple of seconds. So we've looked at another alternative that's working out fairly effective for everyone, and that's looking at something called energy only, where we would fix the energy rate, the kilowatt hours, and pass through what's called capacity and transmission. Capacity is a demand rate, and it's building KW on your bills. Everybody follow that? And those are the three major components. The other reason we want to do that is, in their wisdom, when the legislature passed their bill in 2022 and then the Senate bill last year, basically the utility grid, PJM, decided that they did not have enough money to invest in everything they needed to do to fix the infrastructure. So they basically raised the infrastructure rate that they're paying effective this June from $28 a megawatt day to, in your area, $266. Was 466. Okay, it came all at once. Instead of them raising that $28, $10 a year for the last 15 years, they said, okay, now we're going to do this. And in the last legislative session, there was a lot of outcry. Also, remember, residential rates all went back to regulated rates. The legislature tried to pass a power plants bill to kind of work on this, and the governor vetoed it. So right now we're kind of up in limbo as to what's going on. That rate, though, based on work on our legislature, our Public Service Commission, and Pennsylvania legislature and Service Commission, they're going to raise the cap by, or lower the cap by $100. So signing something long-term at a fixed rate right now may mean that a year from now that rate could come down, and we should try to take advantage of it. Does everybody make sense of that? So we're expecting a 175 this time next year. So that's another reason this is done. So we've looked at competitive pricing from 5 major suppliers: Hudson, Constellation, Direct Energy, NRG, and we've consolidated those pricings for both all-in fixed and energy only. And the sheet that's in front of you shows terms from 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36 months that give us an ability to try to begin to understand where we need to be in the evaluation of our process. So let's look on page 1 at 12 months. There's 2 things. You can see the 9781 is an all-in fixed rate. The math extension says that your budget would now be $297,675. In comparison to your current contract, it would be a $69,000 budget increase in December. In comparison to the utility rate, it's only $12,000 off the utility rate. Everybody see those numbers? If we did energy only, we would sign a contract for 12 months at a 6698, but that wouldn't be the whole story. So we have come up with what we think, based on your 77 accounts, what we think the load would be if you pass through capacity and transmission, give you a budget number. Everybody follow me for a moment? And it would be at a 2679, which means you would budget the budget number would be the 9377, okay? Now what's interesting in here is the bulk of your accounts, with the exception of the wastewater treatment plant, this building, and the police station, all are very small accounts and don't actually bill KW. It's only those major accounts that would bill kilowatt hours. And so the wastewater treatment plant, this building, and the police station would bill in at the 9377, but the other accounts would be somewhere lower. They may be in the 8377, some other kind of number. So there is a difference in the price cost increase. So let me stop for a minute. Did I really confuse you, or is everybody kind of following the comparison of the 2 ideas? Energy only, all in. Okay, let's look to the second page, which shows you 18 months. The actual numbers go up slightly, okay? Now, energy only has been relatively flat for the last 5 years and is somewhat flat going forward. And if you look at the market trend chart, you can actually see it's trending downward after this chaotic period right here. So we need to make sure we take advantage of that downward trend. Looking at 24 months, and the energy only is in a 9285. Remember, the 12 months
can I
was the
push back on that a little bit?
9377. I'm sorry, sir.
Can I ask a question and possibly
Sure,
push
yes,
back on that a little bit?
Please
Okay,
ask
so
all the questions you need.
You're saying that the beginning of this chart from, what is it, November 2022 to February 23, you're calling that an outlier yourself. You're calling it a chaotic event, right?
Right.
So like normally in a trend, I might expect that you would leave that part out of your analysis. So like if I leave the chaotic outlier out, to me this looks like it's trending upwards, not downwards.
It's trending upwards for the next 2 years, but then after that, it starts to trend itself down. Look at the blue numbers and the black numbers that are at the bottom. I mean, it's flat, but it's somewhat a downward trend. I hope I didn't. Did that make sense?
With, oh, good.
No, you can go, Harry. I don't
It's
know that I agree.
relatively flat, but it's not an upward trend. It's at least a stable or lower forward trend.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I
Okay.
can eyeball this and it looks to me like
I mean, I get where
this is
Nick's coming
upward.
from. If you look from May
Like,
20,
if I'm leaving
May
it
23 to Feb 25 to even now, you can see it's starting to trend upwards as compared to the estimates in the green, which
Yeah,
are
that's right.
which
If I
do-
include
no,
the outlier,
I-
then
I-
yeah, I agree with you.
please,
It's on
everybody
a downward
understand.
trend.
What I'm real worried about is this trend right here. This is really
Sorry,
out of
I can't-
alignment.
I
The
can't
first
see
the first 2 periods.
the OG 25 and OG 26.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. Then we get a little bit more normal going here.
I guess I'm kind of following along on Nick's question. What makes you think that that trend is going to
That's where I'm
normalize in
going.
a downward direction?
Yeah.
All right, we actually go to the New York We actually post the numbers on a month-to-month basis, so it's actually based on the NYMEX trend and where that price posting. If we went back, I could show you exactly where that calculation came from on the forward trending off the New York Mercantile.
And these are forward rates
So on
here,
the
you're basically
forward-
grabbing, right?
It's a forward pricing structure.
Yep.
And so we know right now what that number would look like. This was on the 30th, what the trading number was that day if somebody wanted to trade that day for that price. And the overall trend is at least the linear curve going that way as we move forward.
So you're basically using the forward rates as a proxy, am I understanding right?
That's right.
Okay.
So we at least have a benchmark so we know we're not making a mistake. And up to this point, since you all have been with us since 2007, we've always been below the utility rate and at least a penny and a half within the market rate. So that's kind of, but now is the most chaotic period that I've done in my 50 years of being in this. And all I want you to understand, we got to be very, very careful making a decision, not to make one that we would regret down the road, and try to be as conservative as we can, and the one that has the greatest knowledge of what you all feel comfortable with.
And what in your experience is the cause of the chaos that you're talking about?
Tariffs, inflation, big beautiful bill, okay, uncertainty, the fact that we're still shipping 60% of our natural gas overseas, okay, the day the tariff increase on Canada, natural gas shot up and it stayed right where it is, and everybody doesn't realize how much natural gas we depend on in the United States. So all of those things are creating this kind of chaos, and the chaos started about a month before the election and has continued on as we move forward. And now none of us are sure what's going to happen on August 1st, but every time the tariff issue comes up and we get back into this, everything starts to become totally unstable. We've actually seen an increase in the energy-only number since we started this, and we've been looking at this since March. Today, though, was the first time I've seen a decrease in the all-in fixed number. These numbers have been relatively stable. Councilman, did I kind of give you
You did. I have follow-ups, but I think Harry is really chomping at the bit.
My biggest question is how does the New York Mercantile do when comparison to the fact that we know in Maryland, as opposed to other states, we don't have new generation coming online. We're dependent upon these new lines that they want to run down the middle of cornfields. It seems like the prices would be going up at that point if we're not going to be adding any more supply into our system.
This is a total open question that none of us know the answer to at this moment, except that we've got to take an educated guess and understand the trend and understand what number we wouldn't let you go beyond, okay? It's two numbers. We wouldn't want you to go above 10.2 on any contract, and we right now wouldn't want you to go above a 10.682. I would just tell you don't contract that way, okay?
Yeah.
It just gives us a benchmark as to where we are. The PJM rate increase added 3 cents in Maryland to our rate in comparison to what we would see in Pennsylvania or Virginia. So we've included that number here in our projection, and it appears that that's following through. The thing that helps you all the most in your all-in fixed number is the wastewater treatment plant uses 1,500,000 of your 3,000,001, and that load is consistent and flat, and it gives you year-round capacity that really helps out overall. When you don't have a wastewater plant, then it tends to we see numbers 12, 14, 15 cents. We have some people that are getting 13 and 14 cent numbers, and we won't let them contract. We will just not do that. But sir, did I answer your question in some way?
I mean, kind of, but so basically, what it looks like to me, just because things are chaotic and we don't know where things are going, 12-month may be our best bet.
Now this is where we all start to talk about what we think the best, Is it 12? Is it 18? Is it 24? Is it all in or energy only? It's what the council is comfortable with. A lot of your counterparts with the December media read have been looking at 18. Today, the 24 energy only is the lowest number, but the difference between 12 and 24 is, it's $3,000 on an annualized basis. So that's why we're having this conversation, is to give you, and understand, I'm not here to say you have to sign tonight, okay? We're here to get you up to speed, to get a reading on where you want to be, and determine what you all think would be the right way to move to the next steps at this point. We did this deliberately, so we have time in front of us to make an informed decision. We don't want to be in November and when we have to take whatever the number is, okay? That's, Councilman, if you said 12 months and everybody agreed with you, I'm not going to talk you out of it, okay?
Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going through the questions, and then what we'll probably do is follow up in August with an actual conversation of what that looks like after everybody digests, when the questions are answered and everything like that. So let's continue questions.
I kind of had another question. So, well, I guess more of a comment first, but so I think you gave 5 points on the causes for uncertainty. There were tariffs, inflation, big beautiful bill, uncertainty, and I just wrote expectation. I don't remember what that's in relation to though. I think on probably 3, maybe 4 of these though, like we don't really have any reason to think that they're not going to continue to be volatile, right? Like tariffs appear to be a primary tool in our current president's trade negotiations. So I highly doubt that those threats are going to go away. Big beautiful bill is the law now, so that's kind of done. Inflation, I think, has come down as far as I know, but like with tariffs, as we know, inflation will probably increase to some degree. The question is how much. I mean, I think in general, a lot of the things that you brought up are going to cause a lot of uncertainty for probably the next couple of years. So if that's a cause for a lot of this volatility, then I wouldn't expect the numbers necessarily to come down. And I understand your use of forward rates. That's a common practice in most of these types of situations. I would just question mostly the assumptions that are being made to bring it down, because that would, if the prices are coming down in the forward rates, that would assume that the people who've developed the models to project those forward rates out believe that something favorable is going to happen relative to what we're seeing now, right? That's
I think
generally how those things are
I think
done.
you asked the question one way, and I answered it one way. What caused the increase with those things?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ask me where I think the forward number is going to be. I have now no clue how this chaos is going to resolve itself. But I would agree with you, if you look at the trend chart, a number of people feel that some relief is going to occur, either the legislative relief, which is probably the most important piece of this, a reality from the PJM that they made a mistake in raising the prices so high, so that's why they've already agreed to a $100 reduction in the cap next year, okay? Midterms, will August appear in the trade issue or will it go away? We don't know the answer. All I know is I'm trying to be as very conservative as I can to not lock you into something that 2 years from now you would go, hey, Richard, why did we do that? So that's really where it is, because I don't know the future right now.
And just to touch on that, again, the more likely scenarios we see through the legislative relief, I mean, they're feeling the pressure as well there. That's
Huge,
yeah.
huge. It's the same way on the residential side. I mean, residential rates, people used to be able to contract for 9 cents, then they ended up at 11.9 right now. That rate's going to go to 13.5 in a month. It'll be 16 in another year. How can a homeowner, how can somebody who's making $40,000 a year on the line up here at Evapco continue to pay 3 times as much as they did? Energy is becoming a huge cost inflationary impact.
Again, like you're saying, that's not a certainty. It is a
No, what I would say to that, though, is, to me, that's more making the case that we should lock in the lower rate for a longer term, though, because if we're seeing these things trend up, it sounds like hopes and dreams that there's going to be relief on the horizon, right? I understand what you're saying with you don't want to get locked
I
into
just want you to say
too long a
something.
term.
That 9,528 for 36 months, if you look on the all-in, on the third page, is that worth just taking it?
I'm not saying it is.
No,
All I'm
need to
doing
put
is
it- I need to
I'm
put it out
pushing
there.
back, because that's what I'm supposed to do. This is the conversation that we're supposed to be having, right?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be questioning your assumptions and
I
the
want you
assumptions
to.
that are going into these models. My other question, or my real question was going to be, so we have the trend here going from 22 to however long it goes. The blue is actuals, the green is your projections.
No,
How-
the green is the actual month-to-month projection off the NYMEX. The blue is the 12-month weighted average.
Oh, I'm sorry, 12-month weighted average.
Wait,
okay. So what?
the green, the yellows are where the market has been its lowest point, and we try to shoot for that number, okay?
Okay. So what were the numbers before 2022? Like, do we have access
Oh, I
to
have
a
another,
longer term trend?
we just cut this off.
Right.
They were all, when you signed your last contract, we were at a lower point. We were in the
Sure.
7-cent point, okay? So it was another penny lower at that point.
I think he's looking to more see if it was tracking upwards on the previous years before.
Yeah, that's
COVID
right.
and everything
It
like
began
that.
to track upwards, and we just cut this off, but this.
No, that's fine.
It was going up. It shouldn't have gone up. This is all an anomaly at this point.
Right. No, I know the 2022 area, probably 2021 is in an outlier range. I'm more wondering, like, what's the 10 or 15 year trend, right? Like, we can cut off all the outliers and kind of eyeball, like, okay, well, what is the general trend of these prices over any kind of longer time horizon? Cut out the outliers, and you can probably make a reasonable estimation of what might happen to prices in the next 3 years outside of as another way to kind of challenge whether or not these projections are reasonable, right? And I mean, I work in an industry that uses forward rates all the time, so
let me show
I'm
you
not
something.
opposed to that.
Let me show you something. Look at the 9.6, everything in the green and the yellows. Those are actuals. Those are upward trends, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we've seen up to this point, where we are right now at a 10.692. We were expecting this number to come back down in a little bit lower. So focus on the 9.6, the 9.5, the 9.94 as kind of what we would consider the reasonable historic trend for the past 3 years.
But again, that trend
Yeah,
line
that's
is
trending up.
consistently upward.
Yep, it keeps going up in that backside, okay? Now we're here in this middle point, and I can't figure this thing out except for the fact that it's really way out of alignment of where it should have been. Where this
Well,
11.39 is.
you know, one of the things that and this is so many industries falling out of COVID, and then on top of that, there were a whole lot of other things that went into affect this. The old paradigms are gone.
Right.
And so, you know, when I look at that evaluation going out from 2026 and that trend line down, and I'm wondering, you know, are the assumptions that are built into that create that downward trend line part of an old paradigm that may not fit anymore?
I have no clue.
So,
We look
right.
on the market trend chart from all the traders are out there, and they post a number, and that's the volume, and that's the hit. And,
Yep.
And right, so, you know, are your tea leaves better than ours, or does somebody else have some really good tea leaves?
Just to tell you, my recommendation is to do something energy only, looking at 18 to 24 months. and let's come back and revisit this. When you do an energy-only contract, the one option that you have is at a later point, if the market comes down, you can convert that number to an all-in fixed number for the balance of the term. But try to be as conservative as we can.
One-time offer, or?
Yeah, it's the one time at that point. But I'm just telling you, and then what we would be doing moving forward as a team here with Kevin involved, the Public Works, is reviewing every quarter where we stand on actually how each of these accounts got billed, but trying to be as conservative as we can as we move forward. Sir, did I answer your question or did I overstep you? I apologize.
No, I mean, I don't know that there is an answer to my question.
There's not.
It's just, you know, I'm, like I said, I'm just concerned that I don't know that that trend line is going to go down, and I don't know that, you know, when you look at this as energy, excuse me, as energy only, you know, when I see the chaos that seems to be PJM at this point in time and what they are what they're trying to do and what they're having to do to the state of Maryland because of how Maryland is currently operating, you know, I don't know that those delivery costs aren't going to go shooting through the roof again.
Yeah.
The delivery or the capacity and transmission?
Capacity and transmission.
We don't either. Nobody knows. And the auction's underway right now. We should
I've-
have the
I've
results.
seen- yeah.
We should have the results in a few days to the next auction.
But I know that that's gone up like 600%.
Went up 800%. Added 3 cents to any price that anybody had. And, you know, people ask me, ask me why and how, and I said, I can't explain it. I can't explain.
Well,
I can't explain stupid, in my opinion.
yeah. You can't explain
That's fair.
Right, I mean, you talk about legislative relief, and they're gonna try to pound their fist on the table and say, you've got to lower these rates, but in fact, it's everything that the legislature is doing on the other side that creates the issue to start with, and at some point, you know, if you're PJM, you're gonna say, I just can't afford to supply power to the state of Maryland at this rate, so I guess I'm just not gonna.
No.
And what do you do then?
I know, that won't ever happen, I think, but, you know, it'll be, hey, whatever this is the price, boom. It's, yeah,
Right.
you want it, this is what you gotta pay for.
If there was ever going to be legislative relief, it's coming up. You got midterms coming up, you got elections coming up. Even in the state of Maryland, again, a lot of seats are up. This is the time when they're going to be looking to give relief as far as people clamoring over the electric rates. But again, I don't think, we're not going to try to do a decision tonight. I want everybody to kind of think on this, wait on it, and come back in August. But if anything changes between now and August, can you make sure it gets over to our city manager and over to us, just so.
We'll raise the flag as far as we can.
I do have one more
Yeah,
question.
my,
All right, cool.
I will tell you, my recommendation is to try an 18-month, possibly the 24, energy only, and revisit it at some point down the road. The 18 months puts us past the midterms. It gives us some time to adjust. We will know where the 2 next auctions are. I don't know how August 1st is going to happen, what that's going to do. If he stays with August 1st, I don't know what that's going to do. If it gets bumped down the road a little bit more, it'll help out a little bit. You had another question, sir?
Yeah, so I think you said your 3 inputs for determining price are energy, capacity, and taxes and trans?
They're on your bill, and when you actually go on your electricity bill, if you look at the bill that we get, it's going to be supply services, then delivery services, and taxes and fees
Got it,
are on the bills, okay? Supply services on a Potomac Edison bill, it shows down at the bottom, based on the contract that you have, it says Hudson Energy, okay? But those are the 3 major components. The delivery services from Potomac Edison are regulated, they're fixed, and they have continued to grow up at a significantly higher rate than our electricity rates have gone until this year. Don't be surprised if they could go up another 6% next year, okay?
And if I tie that back to your grid,
You would have to add 100,000 for delivery and about 38,000 for taxes and fees to get your total budget number that you would be budgeting for utilities starting in December.
Okay, and the supply would be the energy only, right?
No, the supply number, you should probably be putting in 295,000 to look on page 1, the 285,000 plus another 100,000 plus another 39,000 to get you all in, okay, your budget. But you see the difference between energy only is a 285, above it, the all-in is 297. You understand?
No, I
Your
get
spread
that.
is not so significant as many others, okay? We've seen, most of them, we're seeing 10 and 12 cents at the top number, okay? The main thing is because $1.5 million of your usage, of your 3 million, is the wastewater plant, which really helps out. That really, really helps out.
Well, I guess if you're
What,
looking
what, I,
at
what I was
the-
trying to get, what I was trying to get at was you mentioned that some of the things in here are going to see an increase in price, and I'm trying to figure out which items are going to see the increase in price. I
if you
don't
go,
think it's going to be energy only, so
Energy only is flat.
Yeah.
It's capacity and transmission that is regulated by the PJM now. That rate is only known till May of '26. It could go up in May. Right now, they're saying the cap is going to be $100 less. So instead of being 3 cents, it could be 2 cents. So that's the reason you would allow capacity and transmission to pass through in the second term of your contract.
So are you saying you're expecting that item to go down relative to what it is now, or?
The general thinking is it's going to go down. We will know in a week and a half exactly where that number is.
And then taxes and fees. I thought you mentioned expectation of price on that one too, right? Right now, I think you just
Taxes
said.
and fees are regulated. They
They're
are
regulated.
what they are, you know.
Okay.
You know, there's excise taxes, there's all kinds of, Power Maryland tax, which is a huge number, is in there. It's all of the regulatory fees that the legislatures have continued to throw on.
So you mentioned
county
something
tax.
went up 800% then. What?
All right, what went up
does that
is
tie to anything in any of
capacity
these three
and
things?
okay, under energy only, the capacity and transmission fee went, that's that 2679, okay?
Okay.
A year ago, that would have been like a .06. That's the one where the PJM went from $28 a megawatt to $266 as of this June. That's where the rate increase, that's the major portion of the rate increase. And that's the one that's now the most volatile going forward, and the one that's the least stable. Because you see the 7510? If you add 3 cents to it, where we are, okay? So look at the difference between the 6698 and the 7510. That's probably, that's the supplier margin, their capacity and transmission rate under the prior contract. Did that make sense to you, sir?
Yeah, I think his worry at this point is that if we're talking about the pass-through cap having gone up historically, and even if that 100 comes through and caps it lower and actually reduces it, if it is historically going to track upwards, not make sense to do an all fixed in for the 36 months?
Well, I mean,
I put that out to you all.
That's what I'm. That's ultimately where I'm going. Like I'm trying to
Put
figure
that
out
out to you all.
what's
Yeah,
the
I get-
wisdom.
I get-
Like,
I get where
is
you're
it
going
is it
with
more wise to do the shorter term because we do it is reasonable to expect the prices are going to go down because like volatility is going to be lower, or is it more wise to go the longer term at the lower rate and have just be a fixed cost and
Not have to worry about the pass-through
That's
possibly
right.
going up?
Yeah,
or,
I mean
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to game out. So like you came out the gate saying I think that you should do the shorter term for whatever reason. So I'm just trying to challenge
But
that.
I
to
also
see
threw
if
back one other thing. I said, but look at the 36-month all-in fixed. Is it a reasonable
Yeah, is it a reasonable cost comparison?
cost? Would the council want to say, I now know my budget for 36 months, I'm fixed, I'm done? I wouldn't,
That's
that-
comparative to what the 53 if you went
Yeah.
to 12 or the, yeah, I get where you're coming from on that
it's,
one. And I remember when you, again, brought that up, so.
so just that, you're catching where, and we talked about this earlier. It wasn't until kind of the last week or so that number's come into focus as, wait a minute, that's not so damn bad if we're looking for long-term budget stability and what's reasonable. And then if you look at these nine numbers right here, you know, it's kind of in line with where that's been, and you fix it and you're done. So, you know, right now I'm not going to talk you out of anything, except that I'm just really worried about I can't predict the knowns and unknowns. We used to be really good at predicting the knowns and unknowns, and we've been really good at it all this time. All I'm knowing now is what to predict, to know what my boundaries are, not to go above.
Harry? Yeah.
What's the difference between last week and this week?
I have no clue.
Because the numbers that we had in the packet for last week
different.
averaged about $10,000 to $15,000 more than they did this week.
I have no clue, but it came down. So that's the good news, is that things are coming down. a
Well,
little bit.
well,
I think,
I'm just
what-
curious where we're.
It was
where
the
we're getting
weather
from.
that had a huge impact at that point. There was also some push-up on weather, natural gas issues. I think there's going to be another issue related to what's going to happen in Ukraine as of today with some of the announcements. You understand, we send 60% of our U.S. production of natural gas overseas. And a large part of that comes through the Keystone Pipeline directly from Canada. So that's pushed up natural gas to, that. If that weren't there, we'd be in a real cheap position at this point as far as the numbers. It's just, that's why we're doing this on a consistent basis and trying to get in front of you all to make sure you know where we are.
Is it safe to say that we're probably good to wait until August, our August meeting? Jim, when's our August workshop? I just want to make sure. I know you said it's very unpredictable, but again, I want everybody to really kind of digest it.
I do not want you to make a decision until you're absolutely comfortable, okay? Our last day to make a decision be October 10th.
Before we're just given what we got, essentially.
Yeah, October 10th, we would need to sign so that we can make sure we can meet the December meter reads, okay? We could be a little bit later than that, but that's kind of the... Now, you could go month to month, too, after that, okay, if you wanted to. But that's not... You'd be okay until you hit January, February, okay? If you're month to month, you don't want to be July, August, okay? What we call MBR, fully indexed, where all those rates are indexed.
I think if we could get these updated graphics right around that August meeting, that'd be appreciated, Jim, if you can make sure that that's facilitated.
We try to have this so that these pricing is as of this morning
Yep.
from the 6 majors.
That's what I think is important during that August meeting, that we have, again, whatever the most updated
Yes,
infographics are, whatnot.
yeah.
Because that'll help council especially see, again, if we're seeing that continuing to go down, or, where we're at with that. Do we have additional comments, questions, concerns by council?
Nope, I'm good.
So again, council expect August. Thank you for your time. Did you
never
have any
caught your name.
additional? Did you have any additional comments?
No, this is what I had expected today, and I appreciate your asking all these questions and challenging the process. Did you have another question, Council?
I never caught your name.
I'm Richard Anderson. I'm we're CQI Associates. We've been supporting you since the start of deregulation. We're a Howard County business. My daughter and I have been in business now 30 years. We're in Waverly Woods in Columbia. We're a national practice. We not only serve your clients, but many national clients. Northrop Grumman, AutoNation, Care First, T. Rowe Price. But I felt as though it was incumbent upon me to be back here, given this volatility.
No, we appreciate it. Again, we have a brand new council here, so it helps them kind of become familiar with it as well. So we appreciate your time.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
Next up, we have council member statement regarding conflicts of interest on agenda items. Would any council members like to make a statement tonight? Hearing none, I am proceeding forward to public comment pertaining to agenda and non-agenda items. Seeing as though there are no members in the audience, unless staff would like to make a comment? No? All good, I'm
Chance,
proceeding.
Clara.
I am not going to fall into that one.
Come on, man, why not?
I am proceeding forward to resolution ordinances and agreements. Up first, we have adoption annexation resolution 04A-2025, Sawville 3300 Harney Road. Looking for a motion in regards to that.
Motion to approve.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Nick, questions, comments, concerns by council? It's been discussed a while. Heading to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Carries. Don't count the, unless the councilman would like it counted.
Oh, no, Councilman's tired.
Want a redo on that one?
Councilman is too tired for tonight.
Unanimous aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Yep. Up next, we have Resolution 2025-15, water allocation for July. Looking for a motion in regards to that. Looking for a second.
Second.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns by council? Hearing none, proceeding to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Carries. City manager report. Jimmy, got any additional stuff for us tonight?
Just a quick answer on the fountain. Let's see. Page in front of me.
Did it get a Randy
So-
turtle stuck in it?
So
We
the
have
new
way too much
motor
interest
is
in
ready to
turtles.
go, but we're waiting on a splicer for the wiring, and that's expected to come in the next week or so. So installation will be scheduled once we have that in-house.
Any additional?
Have a progress meeting Wednesday on the Westview Drive report, so, our project, so that's moving along. They're connecting the service lines for the last phase of it. So the mill and overlay and reconstruction of the road's going to be following. Hopefully I'll have a target end date for you guys with my weekly update.
Got anything on department reports? Anything new? Up next, we have new business, monthly financial report. Looking for a motion in regards to it.
Move to accept the financial report.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Any additional comments, questions, concerns by council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Carries. Up next, we have accounts payables. Looking for a motion in regards to that.
Motion to approve.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Any additional comments, questions, concerns by council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Carries. Up next, we have Copperfield Stormwater System Inspection Services Proposal. Looking for a motion in regards to that.
Motion to approve.
For a second.
Second.
Any additional comments, questions, concerns by council? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Carries. Last up, we have councilmember reports, starting with Councilmember Colinock.
Let's see. So Parks and Rec, we had our Independence Day celebration on July 3rd. We drew an estimated 1,500 attendees. Big thank you to Public Works for their help with setup, and also to Taneytown Police Department for keeping the event safe and ensuring a smooth exit for everybody. We have Family Fun Food Truck Friday coming up this Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. at Memorial Park. Then we have family movie nights. The next showing is this Saturday at Sunset, which is around 8:30 p.m. We'll be screening The Forge at Memorial Park, and the first 25 attendees receive a free snow cone, courtesy of Purple Polar Bear. A couple summer camps that are coming up. Hopkido is from August 4th to the 8th. Registration is open through Friday, July 25th. And if you're interested, please contact Lorena, the head of our Parks and Rec department, to sign up. We also have adult tennis clinics running from August 7th to August 28th. Registration's open now through July 28th. Again, you can contact Lorena to register. We have the Taneytown Athletic Association meets this Wednesday at 6:30. In addition to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting, which is immediately after. And we are still accepting applications for the Parks and Rec Advisory Board through July 31st. So if you're interested, applications are available on the city website under Civic Service, or you can also contact City Hall. And Jim already gave the update on the fountain.
Councilmember Miller?
Well, at the Taneytown Police Department, all active officers participated in 1 hour of in-service training for hate crimes training for law enforcement and cyber stalking. Specialized training, we have SPO Dakota Myers completed firearms instructor school in Sykesville from 6/9 to 6/20. Dakota will be evaluated later this year as a firearms instructor, which will grant him his full certification. Corporal Schaefer, MPO Sackadelis, and Sergeant Schultz completed defensive tactics training in Hampstead. PFC Darby attended low-light tactical training in Annville, Pennsylvania. This was a 16-hour course. Lieutenant Kastler and Haley Ingalls attended news media training for narcotics commanders and law enforcement leaders. This was a 3-day, 30-hour course held in Reston, Virginia. SPO Dakota Myers completed basic investigators course in Blandensburg, Maryland. This course is formatted to address the demands and requirements of a factual, proper, and thorough investigation. Sergeant Schultz attended FBI LEDA, Executive Leadership Institute in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And for total dispatched or generated calls for service were 600. Total citations issued were 47. Total warnings issued, 182. Total adult arrests, 10. Total juvenile arrest, 5. For community outreach events, June 3rd, Haley Ingalls assisted at the Head Start car seat event in Westminster. Around 15 car seats were distributed to families in need and installed. June 4th, Haley Ingalls joined the Carroll County Safe Kids Coalition in Mount Airy for a car seat check event at the local daycare. Many children went home a lot safer that day. June 9th through the 14th, all TPD personnel provided security at the annual Taneytown's Fireman Carnival. June 10th, TPD personnel, as well as community members, families, and friends participated in the 40th annual Law Enforcement Torch Run with Special Olympics. They biked 11 miles from Taneytown to McDaniel College to raise awareness and contribute to the organization's efforts of inclusion. Taneytown's athlete was Russell, who proudly led the convoy down 140. TPD raised over $1,000 in donations for this worthy and needed cause. Russell was very excited to get their gift basket from the police department too, so that was pretty cool to see that. Lieutenant Castellar and Haley Ingalls joined the Taneytown Library for the kickoff of the summer reading program. Over 600 children came through to color their world with activities, giveaways, and interactive experiences. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up for the summer reading program. It's really cool, and you get a lot of raffles that they do, and every time you go in you get a little ticket, and kids, every time they read a book, they can log their minutes, and they get to pick a book at the end of it. It's really neat. My kids love doing it. June 21st, Taneytown Police Department, in partnership with the Carroll County Health Department, Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and Kinney's Market held a drug take-back event with great success, collecting an impressive 32.5 pounds of prescription medication and 1.5 large containers of sharps.
Councilmember Meade?
Planning and zoning had a couple of things. We had the comprehensive plan meeting where we are still waiting for the full comprehensive plan that has been worked on to be distributed. Kind of surprised it hasn't come out yet because they said they were going to get it out there relatively quickly.
I know Jim's following up on it.
Yeah, no,
Have a meeting with them tomorrow.
I was going to say, I figured you were on it. It was an interesting section this past time of housing and water treatment. And the water treatment was very detailed, and the housing was less so. So, it'll be interesting to see where we end up on all of that once we see how everything fits together. Then we had a regular planning and zoning meeting on the 30th, and the two main takeaways from that was, again, the Carroll County version of water resource element, which spelled out the entire county's version of water resources for both fresh water and for wastewater. We actually came out relatively decent. That we still need to do infiltration, easy for me to say, improvements. But other than that, we're not in the red like some of the other areas. The other thing that was presented was the completed concept site plan for the DPW building that is currently not funded. I would say that it was safe to say that more questions were raised than may have been answered. So we're supposed to be getting, in fact, I think, is that what ended up on my desk here? Okay, so yeah, I now have a full plan of the of the buildings to check out. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some interesting discussions that go on about the DPW building going forward.
Councilmember Tillman?
I'm happy to report that Economic Development Director Jones is still on the job. And actually, I had a conversation with him this afternoon. He and I spent a good hour plus in his office, and he's very excited about the opportunities that Taneytown presents in terms of historic preservation and economic development and growth overall. You know, there's a lot to do and a lot to be done. He's got a lot of catching up to do with some of the paperwork that he's getting, which he is getting done, and we hope to be moving forward with a Main Street committee in the very near future. We're going to be working together to put together the guidelines and the governing structure of that and how that's going to go forward, and hope to have that out for October.
Councilmember McCarron?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to talk with Kevin a little bit today, and things seem to be going pretty well. One of the things I've seen on his report for the last 2 years is the dewaterization project, and I asked him, when in the world are we going to get this thing wound up? And I was relatively pleased to find out that we were operating, although we have a few checklist items that need to be complete. And then really the holdup is the fire marshal. I understand what he's telling me, but they want buildings identified and signs directing people and silly stuff. But anyway, it's the fact that there has been no change doesn't mean we're not operating. So we're using the new belt filter press and so forth. So that made me feel better. I really wasn't aware of that, but that's good. Another thing he brought up was the new sewer vac truck. They were very pleased with that. They got that about 3 weeks ago and have used it a number of times, and already have saved them a lot of money. And of course, it's going to have to save a lot of money for $5.5 million or $100,000 truck. But he was very appreciative of that and said it's state of the art technically, and it helps him do a lot of things that he couldn't do before, and really anticipates some big benefits to the city overall. The training was kind of rudimentary at the beginning, but they've got the factory trainers coming in the middle of August to really focus on what they need to do. And I, kind of thought that was probably good to let them work with the truck for a month or so, and then they could ask better questions when the factory people get there. So I was pleased to see that. The one concern, and we go back to the Department of Public Works facility building, that vehicle really should be kept under cover, and there's no place to keep it under cover right now. There's no building that we can store that vehicle in. It's down at the recycling center and kind of backs in. The equipment part of it's under cover, but the front part of it's not. So that's just a sideline, and it could get dicey in the wintertime. You have to antifreeze them, and like you do for
Prep on it for the winterization.
winterization. So That's just something on the comment that he made, and it just brought my attention when Harry mentioned that at planning and zoning, but it's, you know, the Department of Public Works is not a wish list thing, it's a necessity, it's something that we really need to do. That's about all I have, the rest of it's in the report, you can read that, but everything was moving along pretty well, I think.
Thank you. I have some couple comments before we head to adjournment. I did want to say they took the vac truck out to the library, and it was a huge hit with the kids. They were all climbing over there, having a grand old time. But, you know, it goes to show, you know, that street sweeper that we got, the vac truck that we got, that all goes to show kind of the expansion of capabilities that we have here at the city that we can do on our own dime with our own personnel, and we're able to control that quality control on those products. And again, I know the vac truck alone is saving a lot of man hours. But that's just to touch on that a little bit. But one thing I do want to say is, you know, Councilmember Tillman did touch on the economic development side as far as the Main Street committee goes. You know, we had a discussion earlier today, and one of the things I'm looking for him to kind of take on as a tasking is almost what we did with the 250th is take on the tasking of helping build that framework with economic development, Bob Jones, and working with the city manager and myself to make sure that that happens and we get that ready for council in October. And I do want to say to all the council members, you know, one of the things we're looking to do here after the 250th, after the framework and everything like that, is I do want council members to kind of have an expansion of what they're able to do so they can, you know, they're working on stuff, that they're taking home wins, that they're not just waiting for the next meeting. So as projects come up, you know, we're going to make sure we spread that out throughout the council so everybody has a chance to be involved in projects and whatnot. So it's not just me and the city employees working on it. I want you guys to be involved in it. So we're going to keep working on that.
Well, just from the museum's perspective, and we've already talked about this before, but the 250th Heart of the Civil War Committee's meeting in Mount Airy on the 23rd, and it's a kind of an open invitation for anybody that's interested in going can go, but you got to register. You got to go online and sign up to get a ticket. But it's going to be a coordinated effort from the Heart of the Civil War Committee involving not only Frederick and Washington, Carroll counties, but also if Gettysburg's participating in this too. So it's pretty all-encompassing. I'm anxious to see what this meeting will bring. It starts at 1:30, it's over by 3:30, so it's a couple hours. And I suspect there'll be a pretty large crowd attending, so if anybody wants to go, I've already talked to Bob and Lorena about this, and they're planning on attending, so they'll be in the loop. Well, all three of us will be in the loop from that regard. Anybody else that wants to go, if I can give you the website link if you think you want to go.
If you should reach out to McCarran or Economic Development, Bob Jones, I'm sure either one of them can get you situated. But again, yeah, as we're going forward, just going to try to give council members tasks so they can be involved as well in the process of everything. So expect that to come down the pipeline. You know, Councilmember McCarran has one now, Councilmember Tillman has one. We're going to keep working through. I don't want you guys to be too overwhelmed because I know you guys got jobs and whatnot. But I do want you to feel that you can take home some wins and accomplishments on projects that you can work on and whatnot. So again, we'll keep that going. Make sure everybody's involved in everything that we do here. And again, thank you, everybody. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Unless Jim.
Just one real quick thing I forgot when you mentioned about departmental updates. Public Works did want to point out that water consumption was up last month, and DPW employees noted a lot of like lawn watering in the middle of the day when the heat just evaporates it, you know, as soon as it hits the grass, pretty much. So if we can just encourage everybody to be conservation-minded with their water usage. I know we've had a decent amount of rain. We're coming out of that, you know, drought scenario that we've been in recently. But during the warm months, it's always best practice to be conservative with your water usage and be mindful of that.
Thank you, Jim. Looking for a motion of adjournment.
So moved.
Look for a second.
So seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I wanted to say nay.
I was gonna